7 of their last 10 games and have fallen to 3-6 in the Big Ten. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, KBLA delegation, you know what's better than laughing? Laughing while celebrating the legends who made us laugh in the first place. KBLA Talk 1580 is proud to present our annual Black History Month luncheon. And this year, we're honoring comedy greats, trailblazers who broke barriers, and funny bones at the same time.
You had to grow up early when we was growing up because your parents were sent to the store to buy. You was too young to buy. I want you to go to the store, give me a fifth of gin and a pack of cigarettes. Mama, I'm two. They ain't gonna let me have that. Here, take this note. You be a little boy walking down the street with liquor and cigarettes. And your neighbors be going, that's a good little boy right there.
We need a little levity right about now. So we're rolling out the red carpet for comedy royalty. D.L. Hughley, Melanie Camacho, Earthquake, Lunel, Dion Cole, Martin Lawrence, and a surprise guest appearance. It's going up Thursday, February 26th in downtown LA at the Grammy Museum. An unforgettable afternoon of stories, celebration, and yes, plenty of laughs, because let's be real, these legends don't just tell jokes. They have changed the game, opened doors, and made history while making us smile.
You gotta go to child support court. You gotta get there real early in the morning. You see brothers going into court. You see them come out 3 hours later. I can't pay this. Let me talk to you, baby. Please, let me talk to the witness, John. Let me talk to the witness. Brother be working for 3 weeks, get his check is $43.
This year, for the first time ever, we have set aside a limited number of individual tickets for the luncheon. They are going to go fast, and when they're gone, they're gone. So if you want a single ticket, or if your company or organization wants to sponsor a table, move swiftly and get to KBLA1580.com right now. All these comedy giants in one room on one stage at the same time? Stop it! This event is going to sell out quicker than right now and sooner than at once. KBLA Talk 1580's annual Black History Month luncheon, Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum. It's gonna be legendary, just like them.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
You got to laugh the pain away.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 oh. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 oh. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 oh. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 oh. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
Jesse Jackson, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. It's thought-provoking Thursdays on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, where our regular hosts, Atiba, and in the second hour, Johnny Mack, join us. Today, we're going to have a discussion about the enemy within. That's the quote that the President of the United States used when he referred to a speech that he delivered to the defense officials just a few short months ago. And every single day, we're learning more and more about the president's nature of retribution and how he has designated the Democratic Party, Democratic officials, people who do not support him, people who speak out against him, as enemies of the people and enemies of the state simply because they have political disagreements with the President of the United States, something we haven't seen before. So we are definitely in uncharted waters. Our very special contributor in this hour is Atiba, former Deputy Executive Director for the National Black Caucus of State Legislators. He's a strategic alliance consultant and president of Party Politics US. He's been a political contributor on BNC News, The Heat, In the Know with Mo, The Leslie Marshall Show, iHeartRadio, 96.3 WHUR, and the One America News Network. He was most recently a guest host on Rising, an American daily news and opinion web series produced by Washington, D.C. political newspaper The Hill. In 2020, Atiba released and published his first novel, Saving Grace, a political thriller. Atiba, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show and to your show, Conversation.
Hey.
Atiba.
Hey, Jesse, I'm waiting for you to add that part into the bio.
Oh, man, it's there, brother. It's there. Always an interesting conversation. I'm so grateful that Atiba moved from Wednesdays on our program to Thursdays on our program. You can catch him right here every Thursday on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Atiba, can we chat about political violence for just a moment?
Sure.
Atiba, I'm thinking that when I was in the Congress of the United States, I remember when Congresswoman Giffords got shot, I believe in front of a mall, or she was passing out information relative to a town hall meeting, and how shocking and painful it was to be in the House of Representatives when we heard that. I hadn't given much thought to political violence, but it then escalated in recent years, including but not limited to the severe beating of Nancy Pelosi's husband at home. Hard to imagine what Mr. Pelosi had done other than had been married to his wife that would stroke someone's mental health to stalk him, stalk them, break into the house and deliver a severe beating to Mr. Pelosi. And then we saw these two very unfortunate assassination attempts on former President Donald Trump. No amount of disagreement with the President of the United States would lead me ever to believe that harm should come to someone that I have serious political disagreements with. At the end of the day, in my opinion, we should all be able to go home. But most recently, we've seen Congressman Maxwell Frost get punched in the face and Congresswoman Ilhan Omar assaulted. Atiba, your thoughts about the climate, political violence, and what we can do to reduce it?
I mean, that's a loaded question. What can we do? My first thought about it is a sad state of affairs of where we are today, that from the leadership down, there are people that feel that you have to agree with them. But I also want to say that there are some ways that the culture has also precipitated this. I mean, and I say this because it makes me think about people who say that they're going to cancel someone. Maybe not be violent, but at the same time, the whole idea of canceling someone because they don't agree with them. So all of this is kind of like sometimes we feel as if all of a sudden something just happened and today we woke up and all of a sudden everything changed. This has been something that has been going on for a long time, even within our communities, where we feel that if someone was racist, they were against us. Well, somebody said something that was sensitive to us, that it was that they were wrong. Not to say that they were right, but it's just to say that there are a lot of different things that have been going on that have kind of been leading to where we are today. The thing is that we have someone who is living in the president's mansion, president's home, who is using the bullpit the way that the bullpit can be used if you don't have someone who is empathetic and someone who is kind-hearted and someone who is actually a leader. And how do we stop this? That's a question I think that millions of people are trying to figure out.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, our conversations with Atiba. We're talking about political violence today. We'll try and arrive at some solutions, but there's a lot of work ahead of us. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, KBLA delegation, you know what's better than laughing? Laughing while celebrating the legends who made us laugh in the first place. KBLA Talk 1580 is proud to present our annual Black History Month luncheon. And this year, we're honoring comedy greats, trailblazers who broke barriers, and funny bones at the same time.
You had to grow up early when we was growing up because your parents were sent to the store to buy. You was too young to buy. I want you to go to the store, get me a fifth of gin and a pack of cigarettes. Mama, I'm two. They ain't gonna let me have that. Here, take this note. You be a little boy walking down the street with liquor and cigarettes. And your neighbors be going, that's a good little boy right there.
We need a little levity right about now. So we're rolling out the red carpet for comedy royalty, D.L. Hughley, Melanie Camacho, Earthquake, Lunel, Dion Cole, Martin Lawrence, and a surprise guest appearance. It's going up Thursday, February 26th in downtown LA at the Grammy Museum. An unforgettable afternoon of stories, celebration, and yes, plenty of laughs. Because let's be real, these legends don't just tell jokes. They have changed the game, opened doors, and made history while making us smile.
You got to go to child support court. You got to get there real early in the morning. You see brothers going into court. You see them come out 3 hours later. I can't pay this. Let me talk to you, baby. Please, let me talk to the witness, Sean. Let me talk to the witness. Brother be working for 3 weeks, get his check is $43.
This year, for the first time ever, we have set aside a limited number of individual tickets for the luncheon. They are going to go fast, and when they're gone, they're gone. So, if you want a single ticket, or if your company or organization wants to sponsor a table, move swiftly and get to KBLA1580.com right now. All these comedy giants in one room on one stage at the same time? Stop it! This event is going to sell out quicker than right now and sooner than at once. KBLA Talk 1580's annual Black History Month luncheon, Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum. It's gonna be legendary, just like them.
What's up? What's up?
You got to laugh the pain away.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Quality, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the beat. Come on and talk with me.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Our very special guest in this hour is our conversation with Atiba. Atiba, welcome forward to the show.
Thank you, Jesse. It's great to be here.
Atiba, I was thinking during the break, and I do realize it was a brief break, that violence in America is as old as the structure of the system itself. Whether it is how we treated Native Americans, now the smallest minority in the nation. When you think about Florida, you think about Alabama, you think about Mississippi, you think about Carolina, both North and South, you think about Indiana, Illinois, you think about Wyoming and Montana and these states that have their names rooted in tribes and tribal people who lived here long before there was a formal nation, before 1776, the Declaration of Independence, July 4th, before the Constitution of 1787. When you think about the contributions, if you can call it that, of the American Civil War, where our politics itself would yield the 13th and 14th and 15th Amendment, it not only yielded that, it yielded for the first time and for the last century and a half, maybe a little bit longer, the two-party system, both Democrats and Republicans, two parties, two sides of the same nation, but different ideological perspectives emerged out of that conflict. And from battlefields during the Civil War to battlefields in state legislatures to battlefields in the Congress of the United States, everybody on one side, another group on another side, I think von Clausewitz is right when he says that politics is war by other means. Violence is part of who we are, isn't it, Atiba?
Yeah, and Jesse, you thought about all that on that short break.
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. I'm watching, and it's a long film, movie directed by Martin Scorsese, starring Robert De Niro and Leonardo DiCaprio, called Killers of the Flower Moon.
Mm.
And it's about Native Americans, Osage tribe, that were robbed, killed, not far from where the Black Wall Street atrocity happened. And I think about, and I thought about this morning, about America and its origin. And I saw a picture that said, was a guy standing holding a sign that said, "We didn't steal the land, we conquered it."
Mm. Mm.
That's the mentality that we're dealing with, that unless you punch someone in the mouth or in the nose or etc., then they will continue to put their knee on your neck until you die. That's the reality. So the political violence, like you said, no, it's nothing new. And when we look at terms of America, in terms of its origin, it's still dealing with a reckoning that has not happened. And part of that reckoning is a result of not just stealing the land, but then coming here because there were people that left England because they were being persecuted. So in a sense, they were being dehumanized, and they left there, and we're told they came here, but they went to Holland first, and couldn't make it work in Holland. So then they came to America. And they came with some money behind them, the people who felt that they could invest in them to look at this uncharted, this land. And in order to get it, they changed. They did conquer land because they came with firepower that was superior to bows and arrows, and they tricked people in some senses. But overall, in terms of creating this vision that has become America, they created what they call laws that bent things to their way. So, okay, you don't have a lease. I mean, you don't own this land. You just say that the land just belongs to the people. Well, we'll take it, and we're going to build a house on it. And now we'll build a house on it. Now we're going to create a set of laws because we're going to create our own community, and we're going to protect it. And so America has long had this violent trend. I mean, if you look at slavery, same thing. We couldn't own guns. And yet the way that history is told is as if we just gave in. And the way the history is told is as if the Native Americans just kept moving to other lands and what have you. And I say all this to say that until you fight back, and Dr. King way during the civil rights movement was a nonviolent approach. But if you look at the Civil War, that was a very violent approach, and it was also one that killed more Americans than in any other war. So America is, the foundation of America, unfortunately, is violent, and so much that it has assassinated presidents who didn't agree with certain things, whether we look at Abraham Lincoln, we look at John F. Kennedy, and there have been a couple of others who were either assassinated or shot. And so, you know, when you think back, or when I think back to Malcolm X getting not condemned, but in trouble with the Nation of Islam, for instance, for saying when John F. Kennedy, President Kennedy, was assassinated, it was like the chickens coming home to roost. He was basically saying, well, America is a violent place and we've done things other places. The difference is right now is we're seeing the same things that are happening that we've seen happen overseas, that we've turned a blind eye happening right here.
You know, I in this moment, I'm having another historical reflection that when I look for the things over the course of the nation to which we have agreement, there are few. We obviously, as a nation, came to agreement on the Constitution. We came to agreement on the Bill of Rights, and even more Americans came to agreement when the document itself was amended to include the end of slavery, equal protection, the right for African American men to vote with the 15th Amendment, the 19th Amendment, the 26th Amendment, which brought 18-year-olds into the agreement. We've all bought into a single document at that level. We bought into an aspirational document in the Declaration of Independence. This is our 250th anniversary this coming July 4th of all men with a friendly amendment from Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and women are created equal. So there is this document that we agree on, and a direct attack on the document itself, when the document itself in our mind and in our faith becomes weaker, we end up being these warring factions without a guiding document to which there is agreement, to which there is civility, and not suggesting at all that the document itself is perfect. In fact, it's far from perfect. But we have at least come to an agreement. We don't agree on July 4th. July 4th means one thing on one side of town, but Frederick Douglass's critique of July 4th still resounds even to this day. We don't agree on the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. Many of the states on the same day that we celebrate Martin Luther King Day holiday celebrate Jefferson Davis and Robert E. Lee Day. It's almost as if the state legislatures decided to give the other side of their states something to celebrate while we're barbecuing or having a day of service on the Martin Luther King holiday. We agree on sports, but then we don't. I agree with the Chicago Bulls. You might agree with the New York Knicks. So there are these things that we don't agree on. There are these moments of joy that we have, and then we retreat back into our respective tribes, and that includes political, economic, social, and multiple tribes within the country. And so much of the nation's history, when presidents have risen to the occasion, they've understood the nature of those disagreements that could be violent, but for the agreement, they've upheld the standard of what it means to be an American by the very rights that have been expanded to other people. And that in and of itself brought the temperature and the tenor and the tone down. There are very few things, Atiba, in our system that we actually agree on.
Yeah, there may be a few things we agree on, but part of, too, the role of the president is to try to bring those factions together, not to try to bend them and say, you have to follow me because I said it so. Not to say that might not be some of the arrogance of some of the presidents, but that's, when I talk often about 2008 and what it was that President Obama's election represented. And when I say, sometimes to people, not necessarily liking how I'm saying it, but when I say that his election and that what people were against was not so much it's because of race. That's the covering. That's the social construct. That's the way they put things in place to make us go at each other. Mm. So, during slavery. And so, even right now, we're seeing history books being taken out of schools. We're seeing signs that are coming down. But, we're complaining about the things that are happening. But what is it that we can do? We can still tell the history of our origin in this nation. We can still be the ones who tell the history of who we are. No one can take that away from us except for us. Mm. So if you look at why was a poor white man angry with a slave? Well, if you're going to get a job and then you're told, oh, well, I don't need any help because I got this free labor over here. Or if I hire you, I'm going to hire you, but I don't have to pay you so much. Why? Because I have this free labor over here. So where the relationship wasn't necessarily so hostile between a white person and a slave, it became that way because of the economic situation. Mm. And the way that the history books will tell us is as if every person who was of a lighter pigmentation owned slaves, which that isn't the case. The same way today, people act a certain way. There's a very small number of billionaires that are in the world. So going back to this whole thing about political violence, normally all these things of violence whether or not it's through military or material, it's always about money. That's what this is all about right now. And the reality is, one group of people is being told that it's the people that have come here from another country that are the reason why your economic situation is the way that it is. That's no different than what was going on in slavery in that conversation. So all these things keep repeating themselves, or rhyming at least, with different players, but the same situation is happening. And you still see people that are taking money away from the poor people and really diminishing the middle class. And we keep fighting each other when the reality is there's just a small number of people that are really against us. But instead of being together, we're fearful of each other, as opposed to going back to 2008. And we see the sea of faces that were all of different colors and different ethnicities, et cetera, were all together because President Obama gave us all something that we had been looking for, and that was hope.
Hope is at the center of eternal existence, I think. I think hope and gravity hold the entire universe together. And without it, I'm not totally convinced that any one of us can stand on our feet. I absolutely agree that Obama gave us hope. And Jesse gave Obama hope. And Martin gave Jesse hope. And Frederick Douglass gave Martin hope. And Harriet Tubman inspired Frederick Douglass. And the condition of African American, Native Americans gave hope at the inception of the nation towards this idea that we could all find commonality and that we can find common ground. I have a fairly interesting story I want to share with you when we come forward about some language that I added to an interior appropriations bill in 2001. And it started the modern civil war that we are experiencing at the nation's park services. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I'm having a conversation today with Atiba, our regular contributor on Conversations with Atiba on Thought Provoking Thursdays. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Calls to defund ICE grew louder at a vigil held Wednesday night for Minneapolis nurse Alex Preddy, who was killed by federal immigration agents.
And it's going to take all of us to be like Alex Preddy.
The gathering outside of the Jesse Brown VA Medical Center urged Congress to cut funding for the Department of Homeland Security as Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker and other Democrats continue pushing to eliminate ICE altogether. The Justice Department is accusing UCLA's medical school of using race in admissions and wants to join a lawsuit against the David Geffen School of Medicine. The Trump administration claims the school favors Black and Latino applicants and engages in racial balancing. And rapper A$AP Rocky will receive the NAACP Image Awards Vanguard Award for Fashion, honoring his impact on streetwear and high fashion. The rapper is also nominated for 3 NAACP Image Awards for Spike Lee's Highest to Lowest. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and most of all, being known, loved, and protected. There are thousands of kids waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It was not a good homecoming for LeBron last night in Cleveland. The Lakers lost by 30 to the Cavaliers, 129-99. The Cavs broke the game open in the third quarter, outscoring the Lakers by 20. LeBron finished with 11 points and 6 turnovers. He was 0 for 3 on three-pointers. The best part of the night for LeBron was a pregame video tribute about his time in Cleveland. LeBron needed tissue to wipe away tears. The UCLA women's basketball team, ranked second in the country, won their 14th straight game Wednesday night. They beat Illinois 80-67. 23 points and 9 rebounds for Bruin center Lauren Betts. The Bruins are 20-1, 10-0 in the Big Ten. USC's women's basketball team plays Iowa tonight at the Galen Center. USC is having a tough time without All-American Juju Watkins. The Trojans have lost 7 of their last 10 games and have fallen to 3-6 in the Big Ten. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Let's do this. On the evening of Monday, January 26th, something special happened. Hundreds of people joined me for a live preview session on the anatomy of a great conversation, and we went deep, for starters, on the notion of curiosity. I mean, real curiosity. The kind that transforms how you connect with anyone, anywhere. We explored why most conversations fall flat, and I revealed 3 of the top 5 killers of curiosity that sabotage even the best communicators. But here's the thing, we only scratched the surface. The full 4-week journey begins Monday, February 16th with the founding members cohort. This course is for podcasters, leaders, entrepreneurs, anyone who knows that your next great opportunity can begin or end with the quality of a conversation. Space in this founding cohort is limited, so go to TavishTalks.com right now. That's TavishTalks.com. Click register or scan the QR code. Don't let this conversation happen without you.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Still battling a thirsty lawn that guzzles water and drains your wallet? Let LADWP turn that patch of grass into a gorgeous drought-smart garden for free. We're talking a full California-friendly landscape makeover designed and installed by pros at no cost to you. That's right, LADWP does the work, you get the upgrade. Ready to transform your yard and save big? Visit LADWP.com/leap. That's LADWP.com/LEAP.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with the world. African Focus Incorporated is a community-based organization whose mission is to bring Africans and African Americans together, lead charitable initiatives on the motherland, and educate people from all walks of life on the beauty, legacy, and opportunity of Africa's 54 nations. And it's that time once again when African Focus is teaming up with KBLA Talk 1580 for our 8th annual African Focus Trailblazers Tour. Travel with us in 2026 when we're headed to the southern African nations of Zambia and Botswana for a historical, cultural, and vacation tour led by me, Dominique DePrima, Cultural Ambassador for African Focus Incorporated. Enjoy luxurious accommodations, conscious fellow travelers, shopping, adventures, cultural tours, wildlife safaris, and a giant waterfall, one of the world's 7 wonders, along with a chance to be of service at an orphanage on the continent. Become an AFI trailblazer by exploring the motherland with a nonprofit organization that has members in Africa and America to help roll out the red carpet for you, and together we'll make a difference and have fun doing it. For more information, visit africanfocus.org or call 310-676-7300. That's 310-676-7300 or africanfocus.org. Whether it's stateside or exploring the diaspora, we're with you every step of the way. African Focus and KBLA Talk 1580. Come go with us.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. It's thought-provoking Thursdays and our regular conversations with Atiba. Atiba, welcome forward to the show.
Hey, Jesse.
Hey, Atiba, I want to, if I can, take a little bit of a liberty and share with you a story that I find somewhat fascinating. I want to call this Genesis. When I was elected in 1995, I was sworn in by Newt Gingrich, and the Congress was very divided. Newt Gingrich is a historian from Georgia, and he was Speaker of the House. So I decided to take my staff, about 15 people, on a tour. We rented a bus, and we took a tour from Virginia around to Texas, and we visited congressional districts of members of Congress, including but not limited to Newt Gingrich. And I went to these Civil War battle sites, and it was fascinating because I concluded that Congress was a lot less Democrat and Republican. It had a lot more to do with North and South, conservative and liberal. And so I wrote about it in a book in 2001 called A More Perfect Union, Advancing New American Rights. So I go to this one battle site, and there's actually a war that had broken out in Atlanta. Atlanta wanted to build a housing development and extend the city limits over a Civil War battle site at the time, where the story of the Confederacy and a victory had been held. And if you visit that battle site, all of this Confederate stuff, guns and monuments and all of this stuff. And I shared with the Park Service representative who was there, listen, if we told a broader story, including the people of Atlanta and what the war was about beyond just the Union came over this way and we came over this way and we made them run across this fence, there's a way to save the battle site, but you have to make it part of our history. He said, well, listen here, what you're going to have to do, you're going to get an act of Congress to do that. So he didn't know I was a congressman, so I went back to Washington and I added the following language to an interior appropriation bill. The managers, I was one of the managers, recognized that Civil War battlefields throughout the country held great significance and provide vital historic educational opportunities for millions of Americans. The managers are concerned, however, about the isolated existence of these Civil War battle sites in that they are often not placed in the proper historical context. The service does an outstanding job of documenting and describing the particular battle at any given site, but in the public displays and multimedia presentations, it does not always do a similar job of documenting and describing the historical, social, economic, legal, cultural, and political forces and events that led originally to the larger war, which eventually manifested themselves in specific battles. In particular, the Civil War battlefields are often weak or missing vital information about the role that the institution of slavery played in causing the American Civil War. The managers direct the Secretary of the Interior to encourage Civil War battle sites to recognize and include in all of their public displays and multimedia educational presentations the unique role that the institution of slavery played in causing the Civil War, and direct the Secretary to prepare a report by January 15th, 2000 on the status of the educational information currently included at the Civil War sites that are consistent with and reflect this encounter. Bruce Babbitt then wrote back, and he pulled a meeting together at Ford's Theater of 200 Park Service representatives because he said it was a great idea. And the gentleman who told me I needed an act of Congress was sitting in the audience. Bruce Babbitt, the Secretary of the Interior, introduces the keynote speaker, Congressman Jesse Jackson Jr. And then I get up and had the gentleman stand up that told me it would require an act of Congress to change his mind on what that battle was about. And I presented him with this report language along with 200 representatives. Now, what does that have to do with today? Well, that same language led to the conversation about slavery at George Washington's house, which Donald Trump just took down. That same language led to language at Gettysburg and Antietam and all of the battle sites around the country that they are now taking down, those exhibits. The famous exhibit of the slave whose back is beaten and keloid as a result of that. But remember the genesis now, the genesis. The goal was to tell a more inclusive story for everybody so that we could all appreciate the battle sites, to save the battle sites. They don't want our story at the battle sites. They don't explain why they're fighting in the first place. And in almost every instance, whether it's the liberals that don't go far enough or the conservatives who don't want to go anywhere with respect to social justice or human rights, the fact of the matter is, at the heart of the conversation, since the Civil War, it's been about, the Negro and the Negro's interpretation of what the reality and the shortcomings of the country have been. All we've asked for, Atiba, is a more inclusive story.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you for telling that story, Jesse. And as you were telling it, of course, I thought about Genesis, and then I thought about these words started playing in my mind. I ain't gonna let nobody turn me around.
Amen.
And so the thing is that we have for years gone back and we will sing, we shall overcome. We know that there were Negro spirituals. We know that the slaves sang in the fields and people thought, oh, look, listen, my slaves are happy. But what were we doing? We were singing to talk about how we were going to escape because we're smart. So when I think about hope, I think that the only thing missing in the narrative of hope right now is stronger faith and recognizing that faith and hope have to go together. You can't have hope without having faith, and you can't have faith without having hope. They go together. And for me, what gets me going is through all this stuff is, yes, America is about to turn 250 years old, and America still has not paid for her sins. It's not America, the idea's fault. It's America is the people's fault. And when I think about us in our communities, I think, hey, there used to be a time when we were so focused on lifting each other up. And yeah, we've been beat down but there are other communities in America that have been beat down. But the question is, I think America is waiting for us to take the lead. America is waiting for us to stop being consumed by all of the things that America consumes everything else with, because it knows it can't be successful as long as the moral conscience of this country is oppressed. And that's us. So these billionaires, they know they can keep doing the things that they're doing as long as they suppress us. Because if they suppress us, then the rest will follow in some way, because they will fight. They'll say, oh, well, those ends, they over there, they getting their rights. What about my rights? That's what that guy in Georgia was saying. Well, I'm going to tell your story when they ain't told my story. Well, all of us have a story. All of us are human beings. All of us have issues in our tissues that keep going from generation to generation. And part of those issues are the fact that we keep saying, I'm against you and you against me, and I can't be with you and I can't. Well, then we come sometimes where we find a way to come together, but usually it's only under times of duress like now.
You heard it right here on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show first. Issues in our tissues. Atiba, our conversations with Atiba have yielded that new phrase, issues with our tissues. Next week, issues with the tissues will belong to a great philosopher. A couple of weeks from now, it would belong to a great man once said. And then about a month from now, I'm going to say, I've always believed that we had issues in our tissues, and it will become a quote known from Jesse Jackson Jr. I'm Jesse Jackson. It started out right here on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show in my conversation with Atiba. He was the originator of it, but by the time we get finished with it, I'm going to appropriate it to myself. More on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show when we come forward in our conversations with Atiba.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Still battling a thirsty lawn that guzzles water and drains your wallet? Let LADWP turn that patch of grass into a gorgeous drought-smart garden for free. We're talking a full California-friendly landscape makeover designed and installed by pros at no cost to you. That's right, LADWP does the work, you get the upgrade. Ready to transform your yard and save big? Visit LADWP.com/leap. That's LADWP.com/LEAP.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like CalFresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, Black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show and our weekly conversation with Atiba. Atiba, welcome forward to the show.
Jesse, and that music always has my head bobbing.
Man, me too, man. I'm really proud of Gina and Farley for coming up with this. It's really great.
I love it.
You know, before we get to your word of hope, I just want to begin a conversation in this final segment of the show that kind of allows you to work your way to the end of the show. I was thinking during the break about the Meredith March in 1966 when Dr. King, after Meredith had been wounded by a sniper in that march, they had been talking about a march for justice. And at the end of the march, every night, because I guess they were marching some great distance, they would have a rally. And Dr. King, of course, would give an amazing oration that night to motivate and inspire the crowd. And on this particular night, Stokely Carmichael stood up and gave his speech and started talking about Black Power. And Black Power, you know, moved the crowd. Young people were more on the Black Power side. It's our time. Black Power. And Dr. King chided Stokely, I guess, as a kind of senior statesman for the moment that evening, and in an ongoing debate that has continued to this day. He said to Stokely that words connote meaning and they also denote meaning. Particularly down here in the South, the language that we're using towards brotherhood is love, it's justice, it's nonviolence. But when you say Black Power, it creates an equal and opposite reaction. Somebody white somewhere is going to say, okay, white power. And Dr. King was chiding him because to give energy to the other side of a Black Power movement was to create an inevitable confrontation that Dr. King's nonviolent approach wanted to avoid. In other words, King as a leader was very selective in the language that he chose because the end that he wanted to achieve was tied to the way in which he spoke and delivered the language to the people. And I can't think of anyone at this hour, Atiba, who gave more thought to the words that leave their mouths than Martin Luther King Jr. in the delicate hour that we find ourselves. Even maybe Abraham Lincoln, the careful language that he had to choose in order to keep the Union together through the war and then work his way to emancipation and then to Antietam and the end of the war. So I'm thinking that leadership, Atiba, and probably no one knows this better than you, has to give some consideration to the end that they seek, even as we fight for justice. Atiba?
Yeah, I have a, writing the book and answering questions from people about it. Yes, I have, the issues are in our tissues, but I also say the road to justice is a crooked path, but it's worth the trip. So often we want justice to be sometimes just us, and sometimes we want justice to be quick and swift. But we didn't get here overnight, and we're not going to leave here overnight. And I think about the song Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. So, in the last segment, we were saying that you can't have faith without hope and hope without faith. But the end goal is freedom. The freedom was what the slave, when I think of my ancestors toiling in the fields, I think about the fact that they weren't saying, I want to be a free Black man. I want to be a free Black woman. I just want to be a free human being. I want the freedom to be human. I think that the poor white folks or Hispanic and Latino or immigrants, or everyone is seeking a sense of freedom. And so when I think about where we are and what the end goal is, what is it that we can do to affect change? There is a reason why there are agents right now in Georgia, in DeKalb County, seeking ballots from the 2020 election, because they want to continue to suppress and keep us enslaved. But the way out of this, within this fragile democracy right now, is through the ballot. And what is it? Through either the ballot or the bullet. And we have confrontations that are going on in Minnesota. And I'm hoping that bigger hearts prevail. And when I say that, I'm hoping that, my hope is that these people who are creating the violence, that their hearts are softened when they see, because that's Dr. King, that's nonviolent. What he was trying to do, when marching and people saying they wanted Black power, but his thing, his goal, his end goal was to get freedom, but it was for the rest of the world to see the atrocity, the violence that was being perpetrated against people that were coming forward with a nonviolent message. But then there were young people who were frustrated and wanted justice now, which both could be right. But I say all this to say this. Freedom is a mindset. The mind, the dome is here for a reason over top of the body. And November 3rd, 2026 is a midterm election. If we're not careful, we're not even going to have an opportunity to change the direction of the country through that. And I feel that there are certain things that are happening right now that if someone asks me, what is your biggest concern? It is that they're going to take that and they're going to use these demonstrations, peaceful as they may be, to alter that. Because what I'm seeing happen in Georgia, what I'm seeing with the governor in Minnesota issuing a statement today saying they're attacking me, they're attacking the people of Minnesota because of me, that we got to figure out, I won't say we got to, I hope that we figure out how we are strategically looking at how we're going to affect a difference and to make change happen on this crooked road to justice. And we realize that we can't do it just as a Black community or a white community or a Hispanic community or Asian community or Italian community. We have to figure out how we're going to collectively do it together, because in the end, I believe that this is all about us creating a more perfect union. But we don't, it's not going to happen without a fight.
Without a fight. And I think that's right. I think that the fight is one where we don't lose our own sense of morality, even as we protest, agitate, resist, but we do it in a spirit that moves the entire human spirit energy forward. That at the end of the day, we leave with a mutual love and a mutual respect and a mutual appreciation that somehow, as Dr. King said, we are inextricably bound in a garment of mutuality, that what affects one person indirectly affects another directly, and that which affects one person directly affects another person indirectly. And that is the inescapable nature of who we are as human beings. Atiba, we have about a minute and a half before we come forward. Your final thoughts.
Yeah, I just want to say that we're all in this together, and that, you know, we can talk about the problem. I'm here. I wanted to talk about solutions, and I will say I don't know what the immediate solution is, but I believe that if we come together and we think about this thing from different perspectives, that we can figure out not only how we come together, but how we stay together. That's my hope. It's not about just coming together like we did in 2008, and then 2012, we started seeing fractures. And then 2016, we saw fear trump hope. And then we saw 2020, because of fear with COVID, we saw hope a little bit come back. And then 2024, we went back to fear. And the question now is, how do we answer the question? How do we stay away from fear? How do we not only think about hope, but how do we achieve hope? And that is lasting, and that, God willing, leads to lasting peace.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. We are enjoying a wonderful conversation with our regular contributor, Atiba. Atiba, thank you for being on the show today.
Thanks, Jesse. I always enjoy it.
In just a few moments, we'll be hearing and moving to the World House in the next hour with none other than our regular contributor, Johnny Mack. Johnny Mack is a prolific researcher and writer around the ideas that Martin Luther King Jr. advanced in his speech Beyond Vietnam, the triple evils, restructuring the social edifice. More on KBLA Talk 1580 on Thought Provoking Thursdays with Johnny Mack when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Calls to defund ICE grew louder at a vigil held Wednesday night for Minneapolis nurse Alex Preddy, who was killed by federal immigration agents.
And it's going to take all of us to be like Alex Preddy.
The gathering outside of the Jesse Brown VA Medical Center urged Congress to cut funding for the Department of Homeland Security as Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker and other Democrats continue pushing to eliminate ICE altogether. The Justice Department is accusing UCLA's medical school of using race in admissions and wants to join a lawsuit against the David Geffen School of Medicine. The Trump administration claims the school favors Black and Latino applicants and engages in racial balancing. And rapper A$AP Rocky will receive the NAACP Image Awards Vanguard Award for Fashion, honoring his impact on streetwear and high fashion. The rapper is also nominated for 3 NAACP Image Awards for Spike Lee's Highest to Lowest. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and most of all, being known, loved, and protected. There are thousands of kids waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It was not a good homecoming for LeBron last night in Cleveland. The Lakers lost by 30 to the Cavaliers, 129-99. The Cavs broke the game open in the third quarter, outscoring the Lakers by 20. LeBron finished with 11 points and 6 turnovers. He was 0 for 3 on three-pointers. The best part of the night for LeBron was a pregame video tribute about his time in Cleveland. LeBron needed tissue to wipe away tears. The UCLA women's basketball team ranked second in the country, won their 14th straight game Wednesday night. They beat Illinois 80-67. 23 points and 9 rebounds for Bruins center Lauren Betts. The Bruins are 20-1, 10-0 in the Big Ten. USC's women's basketball team plays Iowa tonight at the Galen Center. USC is having a tough time without All-American Juju Watkins. The Trojans have lost 7 of their last 10 games and have fallen to 3-6 in the Big Ten. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Let's do this. On the evening of Monday, January 26th, something special happened. Hundreds of people joined me for a live preview session on the anatomy of a great conversation, and we went deep, for starters, on the notion of curiosity. I mean, real curiosity. The kind that transforms how you connect with anyone, anywhere. We explored why most conversations fall flat, and I revealed 3 of the top 5 killers of curiosity that sabotage even the best communicators. But here's the thing, we only scratched the surface. The full 4-week journey begins Monday, February 16th with the Founding Members Cohort. This course is for podcasters, leaders, entrepreneurs, anyone who knows that your next great opportunity can begin or end with the quality of a conversation. Space in this founding cohort is limited, so go to TavishTalks.com right now. That's TavishTalks.com. Click register or scan the QR code. Don't let this conversation happen without you.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on Thought-Provoking Thursdays. Very special regular contributor in this hour, the World House, with Johnny Mack. Johnny is a social entrepreneur and scholar practitioner with expertise in the subject areas of peace, conflict, and social change movements. Dr. Mack's research includes extensive study of Martin Luther King Jr.'s logic of nonviolence and the U.S. Civil Rights Movement. He explicates Dr. King's logic of nonviolence using King's call to restructure the social edifice, and particularly its triple evils of poverty, racism, and militarism, with a revolution of values that is effected through peaceable power. Johnny, welcome forward to your show, Thought-Provoking Thursdays and the World House with Johnny Mack.
Well, Jesse, it's always good to be here on my show, as you say.
Johnny, I'm so glad you're here. Johnny, I know we'll be coming forward in just a moment. Some of your initial thoughts on what's been taking place in the country, in the world at this hour, might be a great guide for us to begin our conversation.
Wow. Yeah. So where do I start with that question today? There's never a dull moment. With so much going on, I was listening to your last segment and the upcoming election. And Jesse, the national dialogue has to shift, in my view, in many ways. And it has to be repositioned socially and politically, I think. Shows like yours are so important to this conversation, but we don't have the social infrastructure that creates a national dialogue in the ways that, for example, cable network media does, that brings a larger group into the conversation. This is a conversation for the people. This is a conversation of the people, and it should be a conversation by the people. And so that's one of my biggest concerns. How do we scale the conversation nationally and bring solidarity assuming that's possible, Jesse, among, people of goodwill in our great country. Again, it occurs to me that we don't have those platforms in my judgment. And I hope that we can find ways institutionally to do that. In other words, such that such platforms become part of the fabric, the institutional framework of our civil, if I may use that word, and civic dialogue. So that concerns me a great deal.
And I really like the emphasis on the participation of the people in your thinking. And in this moment, I'm saying to myself, if I were president of the United States, the language that I use, the tone that I would set, would give some consideration to the idea that words that I speak and that come out of my mouth do affect the spirit energy of the entire nation. Just a realization, right? That words connote one thing, but they denote something else. And so I would wake up every day as cautious as I possibly can, giving some consideration to the world that I want to build and the words that come out of my mouth in the present to help me get there. That would matter to me if I were president. So whatever you think you know about Jesse Jackson Jr. right now, if I were president, I would make that shift. I would have to make that shift. Secondly, the spirit energy of every cabinet member in my cabinet would reflect that tone. And given the nature of the nation's divisions, one of the job requirements of my Secretary of Education would be that he or she would hold a town hall meeting in all 50 states of the Union to talk about education in that state and the ways in which the government can improve it. A town hall meeting, inviting the people of that state, the stakeholders, to discuss education in all 50 states. That would be his or her job. Get back to me in 50 days. Let me know what the people are saying in all 50 states and carry my energy with you. I would send my Secretary of Health and Human Services on a different 50-state tour to talk about the nation's health. Get back to me in 50 days on what you've heard from the people about healthcare. The director of my Environmental Protection Agency would have a 50-state town hall meeting to discuss what's going wrong here, what's happening with this river, what's happening there. In 50 days, y'all come back here now and tell me what the people said. And I would distribute that spirit energy across the entire cabinet to go and hear from the people. Of course, my Secretary of State would be leading a fundamentally different mission with respect to our common interests, our mutuality, our interconnectedness. And that would be the kind of world that I believe would be the foundation of peace, respect for the UN, international law. So this spirit energy that you're talking about, and I think Dr. King was talking about, from my perspective, does have to start at the top. And this is going to be far-reaching right here. President Martin Luther King Jr. would have a different spirit energy, I believe, and a different approach to governing our country than the present approach. And not just Donald Trump specific. I'm talking about Joe Biden, who was also isolated, and his predecessor, and the predecessor's predecessor, and the predecessor's predecessor. In other words, somehow the energy has to start with the people, and they have to feel that they can touch their president on these critical questions of affordability and the issues that matter in their lives and peace in our world. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. More with Johnny Mack when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580. We're discussing the World House.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, KBLA delegation, you know what's better than laughing? Laughing while celebrating the legends who made us laugh in the first place. KBLA Talk 1580 is proud to present our annual Black History Month luncheon. And this year, we're honoring comedy greats, trailblazers who broke barriers, and funny bones at the same time.
You had to grow up early when we was growing up because your parents would send you to the store to buy. You was too young to buy. I want you to go to the store, get me a fifth of gin and a pack of cigarettes. Mama, I'm one, two, they ain't gonna let me have that. Here, take this note. You be a little boy walking down the street with liquor and cigarettes, and your neighbors be going, that's a good little boy right there.
We need a little levity right about now. So we're rolling out the red carpet for comedy royalty. D.L. Hughley, Melanie Camacho, Earthquake, Lunel, Dion Cole, Martin Lawrence, and a surprise guest appearance. It's going up Thursday, February 26th in downtown LA at the Grammy Museum. An unforgettable afternoon of stories, celebration, and yes, plenty of laughs. Because let's be real, these legends don't just tell jokes. They have changed the game, opened doors, and made history while making us smile.
You gotta go to child support court. You gotta get there real early in the morning. You see brothers going into court. You see them come out 3 hours later. I can't pay this. Let me talk to you, baby. Please, let me talk to the witness, Your Honor. Let me talk to the witness. Brother be working for 3 weeks, get his check is $43.
This year, for the first time ever, we have set aside a limited number of individual tickets for the luncheon. They are going to go fast, and when they're gone, they're gone. So, if you want a single ticket, or if your company or organization wants to sponsor a table, move swiftly and get to KBLA1580.com right now. All these comedy giants in one room on one stage at the same time? Stop it! This event is going to sell out quicker than right now and sooner than at once. KBLA Talk 1580's annual Black History Month luncheon, Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum. It's gonna be legendary, just like them.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
You got to laugh the pain away.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the World House with Johnny Mack in our new season on the J Lunch Club. Dr. Johnny Mack is an expositor of the philosophy of Martin Luther King Jr., one of the most thoughtful scholars that I know on the subject, and he has put a narrow focus on restructuring the social edifice as well as understanding the consequences of what Dr. King described as 3 triple evils: militarism, poverty, and racism, as being something that we have to conquer with a revolution in values. Johnny, welcome forward to the show.
Thank you, Jesse.
Johnny, I was trying to make the distinction in the last segment of the difference between preaching and pastoring. Now, a lot of people preach, but pastoring a church is different. And let's just call the United States, this world, let's just call it maybe not a world house, but a world cathedral or a world church, if that makes sense for some people. Now, a preacher can pull it on Sunday morning. And the preacher, in some cases, not in all cases, but in some cases, might be out of church before the folk are dismissed after the benediction. They're gone, right? But the pastor, well, they don't miss a funeral. They don't miss a hospital visit. They greet the congregation when they come in the door. They find out how your mama's doing.
Yeah.
How your daddy's doing? And how's your marriage doing? Are you doing all right? Can I pray for somebody? In other words, I'm making that distinction because the idea that servant leadership matters to the nation at this hour in a way that traditional political leadership doesn't, I think, Johnny, is a factor in our ability to trust someone, like Lincoln visiting the troops, like Lincoln going to the battlefield. Now, I'm not talking about going to a foreign battlefield where you send our sons and daughters to fight. He knows that these are cousins fighting on this side, and the other side of your family is fighting on the other side. And he's trying not only to reconcile a nation, but he's trying to reconcile families who have deep divisions that sent some of them north and sent some of them south. And that required more than a great speech that Lincoln gave on a different occasion. Johnny, it required some pastoring.
Yeah, it required Roosevelt's fireside chats.
Yeah.
Right. I understand, Jesse. And yeah, that takes a special kind of leadership, doesn't it? And we certainly don't have that kind of leadership that I can recognize today. And whether we've had that over the last several decades is questionable. Some might argue that Reagan was good at it, depending upon your political orientation. You might agree with that. Some even argued Obama had it. Again, that may be subject to one's political orientation and their proclivities toward what they want to hear. But yes, thinking of our nation as a great big cathedral, a great big house of prayer, is not a bad idea. The question, though, is, in my mind, as you raise this, and Jesse, you and I don't meet before these calls and talk about what we're going to talk about. So
keep it interesting, Johnny. A little surprise.
Yeah, but it keeps me alert. I'm just reflecting that, the best churches are those churches where the people respect the pastor. They love the pastor because they know the pastor loves them. You know what I'm saying, Jesse? And they learn by precept and example, his or her demeanor. And I think they follow, those precepts and examples. And I just don't know that we have that kind of leadership today, particularly at the national level. We might have some of that at the state and, local levels in our cities. I don't know. But I like where you're going, in terms of, what this nation needs today. We are so divided. What would bring us together? Certainly leadership and the type of leadership is one of the things we should be looking to.
Johnny, I 40 years ago, yesterday, I was a student at North Carolina A&T State University, where Ronald McNair graduated as an undergraduate student. Ronald McNair was an astronaut. He was the African-American astronaut who was on the Space Shuttle Challenger.
That's right.
And I walked into the student union from the business department, and they shared with us that the space shuttle had just exploded and that Ron McNair was on the space shuttle. The gloom, the disappointment, the sadness that immediately swept over the campus was palpable. Feel it. It wouldn't be long thereafter when news trucks began arriving from the Greensboro area to our campus to try and capture the reaction of students when they had heard that the space shuttle had exploded. It was, there were two speeches that I heard during that period that were most memorable to me. The first of which came from Reverend Jesse Jackson. He talked either that night or that Saturday about the rainbow in the sky.
Mm.
There was an African American on the plane, on the shuttle, an Asian American on the shuttle, a school teacher, a woman on the shuttle.
Yes.
One of the pilots, I believe Scobie, I believe he was Jewish.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Christians were on the plane, on the shuttle that day. But I shall never forget, and I think your analogy and reference to Ronald Reagan was important, who I might add was a Californian.
Mm.
We are live on the radio today. Reagan said that they touched the face of God
Mm-hmm.
that night. And the pouring of concern and appreciation for the spirit energy of the president really set the tone for our national period of mourning. That coupled with Reverend Jackson, who said what made this space shuttle trip so unique in American history and the tragedy was that all of us felt a part of the mission.
Mm-hmm.
That we all knew somebody on the shuttle. That students who were planning to be taught lessons from space by the teacher touched every elementary school in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
That one of the most accomplished physicists that we ever created and engineers, Ronald McNair, the best and brightest that we had produced, was on the flight. That Scobie and Ellison and Onizuka were on the flight, Asian American, that it brought all of us together in a period of mourning. Now, don't get me wrong. There have been other tragedies in American history where only white guys were on the flight. No rainbow.
No rainbow.
And yet it wasn't the same as when we were going to the stars together.
Mm.
That's a different tone. And that space right there was made for MLK.
Mm. Yeah. Your father's or the title of his sermon, if it was that, Rainbow in the Sky, was quite apropos, wasn't it, Jesse? And so we're in a crisis today. And that raises the question, where is the rainbow? You know, where do we find the rainbow in today's crisis? When you mentioned that there have been other crises and perhaps the rainbow was not there, that is, it was one hue, I'm reminded of 9/11. I'm also reminded of January 6th, as those crises have been or have come to be known. You just say 9/11 and everyone knows what we're talking about. You say January 6th and everybody knows. The crisis we're in today, Jesse, I think does see the makings of a rainbow, of a coalition, if I can use that term, as if it's never been used before. But yes, today, Jesse, we need a renewed rainbow coalition. We are so divided. And the interesting thing about a rainbow, I don't know if you've ever paid much attention to it, or our listeners have, but it's amazing the way the colors fuse one into the other. You can't really say where one color starts and the other stops.
I love that, Johnny.
And that's where we must be today. That is not so much what hue we are, but understanding that that hue fuses into the next, and we never really know where one starts and the other stops. And that's the mindset, Jesse, that we need today, I think. And it goes back to what we said earlier about the role of the people. I think the people know how to handle this this most recent killing in
Minnesota.
In Minnesota, you know, we see the makings of that rainbow beginning to emerge in the proverbial sky of the existential threat that we are facing as a nation. And we, again, I think what fosters a rainbow, I'm not totally sure of all this, but it's how the sun is positioned, how the light is positioned on the face of the earth. And how then, what is that positioning of the light? What is the light, and how do we position it to bring forth the rainbow, Jesse?
You know, I'm going to take it a little step deeper, and I think we've talked about it on the program before. From rainbow to painbow. I think the blending that you speak of is not purely identified by color, and I know you're not suggesting that, or either is my father. But the painbow. I mean, I feel the pain coming out of October 7th. But I also feel the pain of 67,000 Gazans who are not Hamas. I feel the pain of Venezuelan immigrants. But I also feel the pain of the Venezuelan people presently occupied and run by the Trump regime. I feel the pain of the Somali people in Minnesota. But without the United States Aid and International Development Agency, I also feel the potential pain of millions of Somalians who might not have the assistance that they need to have a balanced nutrition program in Somalia. I feel for Governor Tim Walz in Minnesota and Mr. Preti and Ms. Good, but I also feel for the young man killed in detention under the auspices of ICE in California. And so I find the coalition coming together not based upon merely its color, but that gray area, that part that you said where you can't tell the distinction between where the colors separate themselves. I find it in the pain that people are experiencing. And if you can go one step, not you, but us, all of us, go one step beyond the obvious, our color, and see the suffering, the coalition starts in what we are experiencing together as a people. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. We're having a worldwide conversation with Johnny Mack. We're aligning our spirit energy with the truth and the ways in which we can organize together. More on KBLA, the World House with Johnny Mack, when we come forward after the break.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. The FBI has reportedly searched a Fulton County, Georgia election office for materials linked to the 2020 election.
For the life of me, I still cannot understand the fascination about the 2020 elections.
County Commission Chair Rob Pitts, who is black, says they were caught off guard and raised concerns about ballot security. The Maryland Historical Trust is awarding $5 million to 29 organizations to restore and preserve African-American historic sites across the state. The funding supports projects tied to Black heritage, including historic homes, schools from the segregation era, and cemeteries, with leaders saying it will help protect places like the summer home of Frederick Douglass for future generations. And rapper A$AP Rocky says he's open to running for mayor one day. In an interview with Esquire, Rocky pointed to issues like crumbling infrastructure, rising train fares, cuts to SNAP benefits, and health care. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and most of all, being known, loved, and protected. There are thousands of kids waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It was not a good homecoming for LeBron last night in Cleveland. The Lakers lost by 30 to the Cavaliers. 129-99. The Cavs broke the game open in the third quarter, outscoring the Lakers by 20. LeBron finished with 11 points and 6 turnovers. He was 0 for 3 on three-pointers. The best part of the night for LeBron was a pregame video tribute about his time in Cleveland. LeBron needed tissue to wipe away tears. The UCLA women's basketball team, ranked second in the country, won their 14th straight game Wednesday night. They beat Illinois 80-67. 23 points and 9 rebounds for Bruin center Lauren Betts. The Bruins are 20-1, 10-0 in the Big Ten. USC's women's basketball team plays Iowa tonight at the Galen Center. USC is having a tough time without All-American Juju Watkins. The Trojans have lost 7 of their last 10 games and have fallen to 3-6 in the Big Ten. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Let's do this. On the evening of Monday, January 26th, something special happened. Hundreds of people joined me for a live preview session on the anatomy of a great conversation, and we went deep, for starters, on the notion of curiosity. I mean, real curiosity. The kind that transforms how you connect with anyone, anywhere. We explored why most conversations fall flat, and I revealed 3 of the top 5 killers of curiosity that sabotage even the best communicators. But here's the thing, we only scratched the surface. The full 4-week journey begins Monday, February 16th with the Founding Members Cohort. This course is for podcasters, leaders, entrepreneurs, anyone who knows that your next great opportunity can begin or end with the quality of a conversation. Space in this Founding Cohort is limited, so go to TavishTalks.com right now. That's TavishTalks.com. Click register or scan the QR code. Don't let this conversation happen without you.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about. Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, aka the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
What if poetry wasn't something you studied, but something you felt? Poetry for the People, the June Jordan Experience, is now live at the Fountain Theater in Los Angeles, celebrating the life and legacy of June Jordan, visionary poet, activist, and truth teller. This vibrant musical experience brings her words to life with rhythm, joy, and power. Directed by Raymond O. Caldwell and featuring music by her longtime collaborator Adrian Torf, it's joy is resistance, love is liberation, and poetry for the people. Tickets are on sale now at fountaintheater.com. That's fountaintheater.com.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with the world. African Focus Incorporated is a community-based organization whose mission is to bring Africans and African Americans together, lead charitable initiatives on the motherland, and educate people from all walks of life on the beauty, legacy, and opportunity of Africa's 54 nations. And it's that time once again when African Focus is teaming up with KBLA Talk 1580 for our 8th annual African Focus Trailblazers Tour. Travel with us in 2026 when we're headed to the Southern African nations of Zambia and Botswana for a historical, cultural, and vacation tour led by me, Dominique DePrima, Cultural Ambassador for African Focus Incorporated. Enjoy luxurious accommodations, conscious fellow travelers, shopping, adventures, cultural tours, wildlife safaris, and a giant waterfall, one of the world's 7 wonders, along with a chance to be of service at an orphanage on the continent. Become an AFI trailblazer by exploring the motherland with a nonprofit organization that has members in Africa and America to help roll out the red carpet for you, and together we'll make a difference and have fun doing it. For more information, visit AfricanFocus.org or call 310-676-7300. That's 310-676-7300. Or AfricanFocus.org. Whether it's stateside or exploring the diaspora, we're with you every step of the way. African Focus and KBLA Talk 1580. Come go with us.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the World House on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Our very special guest is none other than Dr. Johnny Mack. Johnny, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Thank you, Jesse. Always good to be here.
Johnny, I'm a student at Tavis Smiley, and I'm trying to learn more about being a great conversationalist. And in the break, when I was listening to the commercial, he shared with us that in his symposium the other day on how to have a great conversation, that a significant factor in that process is curiosity. Curiosity. And I don't want to leave curiosity out of Dr. King's thinking, because you have to be particularly curious to be concerned about someone who's not doing well, to see the other, to see your neighbor, to hear them out, to listen to them, to not have all the answers and just throw them out there because you've got something to say and that people need to listen. There's something to be said about the spiritual nature of curiosity in bringing people together. I'm curious. In the speech Beyond Vietnam, Dr. King said, it's not just the politics and it's not just the war. I'm concerned about the peasants in Vietnam, the people who don't know a darn thing about communism and don't care anything to do with capitalism. They live in these little rice paddies and these little mud huts, and they're meeting America for the first time through its soldiers who are burning their villages and napalming their people. We talk about the Vietnam War, but we never made it to the point, at least from my perspective, to curiosity about the Vietnamese people.
Well, so, understanding each other, is one of the first steps in building solidarity and community, being open to and being curious about, to use your term, Jesse. Yeah.
Oh, I'm borrowing that one from Tavis. I ain't used curiosity in about 40 years. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah, but again, wanting to know, being genuinely concerned, being empathic, right? Understanding that we all bleed the same type of blood, and we all are faced with the same challenges and opportunities that confront us, day in and day out. And yes, some are better equipped because of circumstances and history and innate talents, but we all are human. And we came with nothing into this world, and just we're going to leave with nothing. And so it's what we do while we're in between those bookends of life that really matters.
Dr. King said in Beyond Vietnam that part of this question centers around the capacity to see and understand the world from another's point of view.
Yeah.
I think in that moment, Dr. King was speaking about the curious nature of raising questions that we weren't hearing from Johnson or Westmoreland. Or, by the way, there's a fascinating documentary on Vietnam, the Vietnam War, on Netflix that I began early this morning. Several episodes from the perspective not only of Americans, including Kissinger and Nixon, and it covers all of the politics from the Kennedys forward. But
But a pivotal moment in the entire presentation is Dr. King's speech Beyond Vietnam, and then how the American people heard that and began to make the connection between the loss of life abroad and their children going there, and then Kent State, and all of that as we began to move beyond our own understanding of what it meant to be an American, because we're constantly sold that everything about America is great, that everything is wrong with the world, everyone wants to be like us. But in this moment, Dr. King's curiosity about the least of these in Vietnam, just like you have a curiosity about the least of these in Venezuela.
Yeah. Well, and that's obviously because King understood in his words that we're inextricably tied together in a network of mutuality. It's unavoidable. Whatever happens to me is going to affect you, and whatever happens to you is going to impact me. And so we must be concerned about the other simply because, again, that's ultimately going to affect us and our own, those who are close to us, those whom we care about, and those who will follow us. And so we have to find ways, Jesse, of identifying with others, of identifying with their lived experiences. And we're not so good at that. We're not taught to do that. We're taught to be individuals. It's about individual achievement. I'll get mine and good luck to you. About getting yours. And if that's ingrained from preschool into kindergarten, up through primary into secondary, and then especially on steroids into undergrad, postgrad, and so on and so forth, we've been socialized to be atomistic, is I think one of the academic terms.
What I'm thinking in this moment is a quote from Dr. King that says we must be concerned about, not just concerned about flicking a coin to a beggar, but in recognizing, and this is what's out of our control. This is what's out of our control. And we've never woken up to the idea. I believe King was waking us up to the idea that we have a system that produces beggars, a system that produces beggars, a system that does not have to produce beggars, but it is a system that creates need and need. It's also a system that has to be fed in order to perpetuate itself. And whatever you define as I'm a good person, or you're a good person, or you're not a good person, you're evil, or whatever, we are the sum of the system that produces us. And if there's anything to be said about this particular moment in American history, is that all of the gluttony, all of the greed, all of the selfishness, all of the I, me, my, all of this, it doesn't matter, it's my world and you were born in it, all of it comes together in the titular head of our nation right now, a malignant narcissist. And we are creating a system of malignant narcissists, to your point, who only see themselves.
Yeah. And just one challenge to what you said, and I identify with every bit of it. You said the system doesn't have to do a certain thing, but I would argue, Jesse, that the system does exactly what it's designed to do.
Interesting.
It's going to produce exactly what it's designed to produce. And it's designed to produce this individualistic, acquisitive creature. And so the system itself, King argues, he understands this, which is why he says that the edifice that produces beggars needs to be restructured. He understands that the system is going to produce beggars. It's designed to do that, Jesse.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to Johnny Mac on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. More when we come forward on the World House with Johnny Mac.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
had a tax problem he just couldn't handle on his own.
I owed the IRS taxes for over 5 years, but I didn't have any money to pay the taxes.
Those years cost him dearly.
Most of it was fees and interest. It was horrible.
Ron finally called in the pros.
I called Optima Tax Relief, and boy, am I happy I did.
The leading tax resolution firm, Optima, is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. They've resolved over $1 billion for their clients. Ron was overjoyed.
They settled my account with the IRS. I was ecstatic. They are a lifesaver. They are. I am so happy.
Take Ron's advice and call Optima now for a free consultation.
Yeah, don't do like I did and wait. Call Optima Tax Relief. Do it now. You'll be ecstatic like me.
Call 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection laws. Don't face eviction alone. Call our hotline at 1-888-694-0040. That's 1-888-694-0040. Or visit stayhousedla.org. Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad
Are
Council.
you drowning in IRS tax debt? Angela was. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $80,000. Felicia was having health problems, got behind on her taxes, interest and penalties were adding up. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $15,000. Civic Tax Relief is a professional tax negotiation firm that can protect you from the IRS. If you're getting collection letters, call Civic Tax Relief for a free consultation. They will go to work helping you discover all the relief programs you may qualify for free. James owed the IRS $37,000. Civic Tax Relief represented him against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, he did not owe the IRS anything. If you are in trouble with the IRS, call Civic Tax Relief for your free consultation now. 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257. Get a free consultation and real tax relief. Call 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Our very special guest in this hour is none other than Dr. Johnny Mack. Our producer, Gina Towns, put up a picture of one of our childhood heroes, Curious George. Thanks, Gina. I appreciate that. For those of you who are downloading the podcast, you'll be able to see exactly what she posted in the middle of the show. But for those of you who are listening to us on the 5, on the 10, on the 105, and up and down the highway, we were Dr. Johnny Mack. Johnny, welcome forward to the show.
Hey, Jesse, good to be here.
Let me pivot for a second to experiments in different systems. Gandhi shred his legal profession and his outfit and went to identify with the poor in India. And yes, Gandhi's racism and racial insensitivities, particularly as they relate to the Negro, notwithstanding, there is an experiment of Gandhi living in the ashram in communal living where the communities themselves shred. They make their own cloth. They share their food. They share their worship. They share cleaning their clothing. And it was very different than the South African system that he had initially gotten his education in. But Gandhi was looking for a system, in my thinking, that produced a different value system. It was so curious that Howard Thurman went to see this man in India and is the only known connection, a delegation that he led of African Americans, including, I believe, his wife, who might have been from Pakistan, or she might have been Indian, Mrs. Howard Thurman, went to India to study Gandhi in that context. And it's Howard Thurman to which Martin Luther King Jr. Would indeed gain many of the principles of what he learned from Gandhi. That's the connection to Gandhi, Howard Thurman. And then Howard Thurman also said that after he finally got an opportunity to talk to Gandhi, and this is after W.E.B. Du Bois wrote Gandhi 2 or 3 different times and said, can you write a little piece in our magazine, The Crisis, say something about the Negro struggle? We catching hell here in America. And Mr. Gandhi, you are doing some great work, but we'd like to hear from you. And Gandhi writes back and says, you all should not be afraid of slavery. You should pray for the slave master. And then W.B. Du Bois wrote it back again. Well, we ain't talking about slavery right now. Slavery was over in 1865. We're discussing something else here. We are getting our behinds whooped here in America. And Gandhi offered him, again, some platitudes until Howard Thurman goes and meets with Gandhi. And after he experiences the American Negro through Howard Thurman, Gandhi then apparently says something to this effect. Maybe it will be the American Negro who brings nonviolence to the world.
He did indeed.
He did indeed. But it required not his initial communications with W.E.B. Du Bois, where he was looking down on us, just because he wanted him to write an article. I got copies of it. Google it. Gandhi writes W.E.B. Du Bois writes Howard Thurman. Google it, and the letters going to pop up, and so forth and so on. So then Thurman comes back, and it remains unclear. I think he said he met Dr. King in his living room one time, but it remains unclear as to whether or not Dr. King really spent any real qualitative time with him. King is so fascinated by Howard Thurman and the system and his study that was producing a different reality that wasn't bound by the system that we had become accustomed to here in the United States. And so Dr. King, I can only imagine, envisioned, Johnny, an edifice that produces something different through that line of thinking right there.
Yeah. Well, there's so much there, Jesse. But I can't rush past your reference of Howard Thurman. In today's world, we miss giants like Howard Thurman. I grew up as a very young kid in Thurman's time, but came to realize in college what an important human being, thinker, theologian, philosopher, sociologist, whatever combination of those this great man was, and would recommend particularly Jesus and the Disinherited. Just a wonderful book from a wonderful man. I could go on. We could spend the rest of our time talking about Howard Thurman, but I must rush on. You know, part of the genius, as I think you're inferring, of Gandhi was his ability to see beyond the current system then of the British hegemony and monopoly and control over so much, including India. And Gandhi was able, again, to see through, over, and beyond that system and to reject it and to say there is another way, and to believe that such another way could be realized. And I think that's what we need today, and what we were talking about in the last segment or two, Jesse. I believe that King believed that there is another way. And again, we have the system that we have because it's the system that we accept. And, you know, the system produces us, and we reproduce, Jesse, the system. That is, there's a virtual relationship between this social structure, the edifice that King calls it, the systems of the world. This mutually reinforcing relationship between the people and the system. The system teaches us, and then teaches us to ensure that it survives itself. And so we reinforce the system in this virtuous relationship. It's an incredibly ingenious way to maintain the status quo. And we call that, by the way, Jesse, bureaucracy.
It's interesting, Johnny, that you can be a great American, but that does not make you great in the world. It does not make you a great citizen of the world.
No.
It means you're great in this system. It means you might be well known in this system, but don't nobody know you beyond this system. This system is all jacked up. No matter what your greatness is, it's limited to the greatness of the context in which you exist, which is in the context of the American system.
Yeah.
So you might be all that on your block, but that doesn't mean you're all that in the world.
Yeah.
And rarely do we transcend beyond the system. I mean, when I get off the plane with Reverend Jackson or Reverend Al Sharpton or with Nelson Mandela, these are men and women, and there are women who have transcended the system that they are from to be able to speak to the true, authentic nature of what it means to be human. Johnny, how do we support your work?
You know, at the bottom of the screen, Jesse, there's a what do we call that?
A scrolling something or other.
Scrolling something or another that says, visit the World House Project at www.theworldhouseproject.org. If our listeners would just follow that instruction or follow that guide, visiting theworldhouseproject.org, they'll find out more about our work and how they can make a contribution to it.
Johnny, I'm looking forward to our time together next week.
Always.
I appreciate you so much. You've been listening to The World House with Dr. Johnny Mack, one of our very special contributors, and I'm so grateful that he participates in this show and for the leadership that he continues to provide, as well as the spiritual guidance that he provides all of us. If you're traveling on the highway in Los Angeles, California, you're listening to us on KBLA Talk 1580. I also want to put KBLA Talk 1580 on your table, wherever you can support our organization. Stop by Leimert Park, and do everything you can to keep this radio station strong. More on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward on Fat Meat Fridays with Gina Towns. Until tomorrow.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.